And so when I was in that fear state, it it messes with the perception and the logic in which you process the world.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Your prefrontal cortex is shut
Yeah,
down. You can think straight.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
the scientific term is called the amygdala hijack.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that a lot when we were traveling, like during the pandemic. I was so in fear, and everyone kept telling me, all the people around me, like, you got to get out of fear. You got to get out of fear. That's what's making you sick. And I had so much shame around it. Like, oh no, what's wrong with me? Why am I having this? And it wasn't until this year when I just was like, okay, I have fear. There's a reason. I accept it and then just kind of feel it and like love myself through feeling it because it's like everybody has fear, you have to process it. And I tend to just be so hard on myself and be like, do better, do better, do better. Maybe it's the Capricorn in me, I'm not sure. But finally, when I just accepted it and like was like, I just have to love myself through this and say, it's okay. It's okay to be fearful. It's okay to be scared. Like, feel it, get it out, and then you're gonna feel better. Then it's gonna go away.
Yeah, yeah. Because if I attach my fear or my anger, my sadness, whatever it is, big emotion. If I attach it to external, like I'm afraid of this or that or this, as soon as I say
Mhm.
that, that means it goes back in to come back out. Because basically it's fear coming out. But if, when the fear comes out, if I acknowledge it, one of the things that I did when I was going through a lot of it, because I came from severe PTSD, severe.
Mhm.
I still look at it. I can't even believe that I was functioning through even the early days of the clinic. But I used to go, hello, fear. Thank you for being here. What do you want me to see? And I would
Mhm.
say that like 20, 30 times a day.
That's powerful.
That's
I did that this morning.
too much uh, stress and fear. And
Mm.
somehow I worked my way out of it. But the way I worked my way out of it was I just kept fixing the body. I kept doing and working on the body, and eventually I gave enough time that when I took the stress out of the body, took it out, took it out, took it out, took it out, then over enough time, then I had space. I had enough time for my body to process all of the emotions that were stuck, and that's what
Mm.
PTSD is. It's
Yeah.
it's. I mean, people deitize it. It's like this. Oh, it's this thing, and you can't get out of it. And I'm like, mineralize the body, take the inflammation out, take the stress out 2 to 3 times a day. The girl who is projecting it on the supplements right now, the one that got poisoned with a jet fuel, I think it was the day I talked to you.
Yeah.
Um, she she she's processing fear, so she was doing fascial maneuvers 3 times a day, and she was feeling better. That only works
Mm.
for a period of time because that gets the stress out, but then your body goes, okay, I need to do more. So now it needs the building blocks of the tool. So
Mm.
fear and stress are relative, and they change with the circumstance. Like you don't have the reason in your life to have this panic now, but at some
Mm.
point in your life you did,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
what I keep
The
coming
energy
back
got
to.
stuck in your
Yeah,
body.
yeah. These are just
Yeah.
this is just emotions. When the job of the brain is to explain and narrate the environment around you. So the narration gives us a way of solving it. That's why we like diagnosis, because it's a narration that lets us stop thinking about it. Because what happens
Yeah.
is if I have a big pain or a big emotion, the brain is trying to explain it. The bigger the pain, the bigger the emotion, the harder the brain, the more pressure the brain is to resolve it. So it just keeps trying to answer the question, and it's not that, it's not that, it's not that, and it just keeps going. It's looping back and forth. The only way to get out of
Mm.
it, I've looked at everybody in every situation that I can imagine, and people use EMDR. That works for a minute, and then it doesn't. They use
It didn't work
biofeedback.
for me.
It works, and then it doesn't. Yeah, or it doesn't.
Biofeedback helps
Yeah,
though.
but
Yeah.
but that's temporary. And what I found is it
Mm.
causes more problem later on. So I'm taking information that's stored here in a fascial layer, which is connected to an organ, going to an organ, getting an emotion, coming back up to my brain to attach what was the narrative, and then running that narrative. And when the body is all congested, it keeps trying to run that same narrative. and it can't get past it. So the only way that I have seen, and I've worked with people from war, child sex trafficking, sex trafficking. I've worked with people held as hostages. I've worked with like Navy SEALs and Rangers, not a little bit, like literally about a third of all of my career work in the clinic was that. And what I found is the most effective way, because they all used all the other things, but by the time they came to human garage, everything else had failed. So what we did is took the body out of stress consistently over time. And then we can, once we're out of stress for a minimum of 28 days, we can self-actualize. And instead of going down like this, thinking of it, thinking of the emotion, trying to figure it out, we go out here and then think and go out here, take a look, have another thought, go out here, take a look again, have another thought, go out here and say, well, that thought doesn't seem right, implant a new thought, come back down, and then all of a sudden that emotion starts to recognize itself and come out.
Yeah.
And
you need perspective.
Yeah, and this is why, listen, I see some people talking about EMDR. I have been working with traumatic brain injuries. I had one. I had 8 concussions. I had post-traumatic stress. I've worked with every form of trauma and PTSD you can imagine from a clinical point of view. And what worked for me and what's worked for now, literally tens of thousands of other people, is take the body out of stress every day, 1 to 2 times. And if you take the body out of stress twice per day, and you do that for 30 days, or 28 days, one full moon cycle, there is not one disease or disorder, mental, emotional, or physical, that doesn't have a change that you can measure. You do it for 3 months in a row, there's not one disease that has an impact on your body anymore. And you saw last week, a girl had tachycardia, very complex tachycardia. Come out of that. We've got children in the children's program coming out of brain cancers, and we have people coming out of autoimmune diseases and curing them. How? I mean, we're not. They're doing it themselves. We're not doing anything. So they're not
take the body out of stress.
Practitioners. How are they doing it? They're taking their body out of stress multiple times per day.